Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Do your dance when the G's up. G. Spaced out. Got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west. Can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up. Since 96. Yeah. Been number one in LA. Something slight. That's the gist.
What's good, guys? Welcome to Talking Galaxy. This is episode 2. Welcome everyone. We got Galaxy Runs LA returning. We got Sean and Galaxy Memes. Sean is our new guest on Talking Galaxy. Would you like to introduce yourself, Sean?
Yeah, hello everyone. I am Sean, also known as the person who runs the Galaxy News 101 account on Instagram. I'm really excited to be here with all of you and really get this show going.
Absolutely. We got 4 people tonight. Unfortunately, Griffin will not be making it, but as stated before, we'll rotate between. We have some topics to discuss tonight. We got a lot that's happened since our last podcast, and yeah, without further ado, let's transition to the first thing. All right. The Galaxy will start their Coachella Valley Invitational tomorrow at 11 a.m. against Austin FC. You could see the full Coachella Valley schedule here. And yeah, without further ado, go ahead, Galaxy Runs. Any thoughts? I think you're muted. Is his audio working for anyone else?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. Sean, you could go ahead.
He's muted.
Sean?
So tomorrow we play Austin FC in our first actual preseason game, because for sure these are going to go 90 minutes and we don't know how long the last preseason game went against New York. Again, it's just preseason, so expect a lot of rotation between the squads. You're probably going to see 2 completely different squads from the first half, or from what start the game and what ends the game. Expect a lot of guys from G2 to be playing, or Ventura County to be playing, as really this is the chance to see who's ready to be up on the main team and who's ready to still, or who still needs to be on Ventura County for a bit longer.
Yeah,
Is this
absolutely.
thing working now?
Yes.
Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
sick. All right, so I was gonna say before I lost some aura, we got Austin on Wednesday tomorrow. I think that'll be a good game. As Sean pointed out, I think it'll be a pretty rotate squad. You know, we're gonna be talking about Sanabria later on. I think he makes an appearance, though he's not officially a Galaxy player. I think we could see him make some minutes. And then Sunday on the 9th, we got Charlotte. I think that'll be a great game as well. They got Wilfred Zaha. That game very exciting, so I think that'll be a good test. Then following that, we got Minnesota on the following Wednesday on the 12th. Minnesota obviously beat them in the playoffs, so they're gonna want revenge. So get us off on the right foot because we got 2 games against them during regular season. And then we got the final Coachella game Saturday the 15th versus Chicago. Chicago obviously was rumored with Neymar. They got their DP signing in Bomba. So if he plays, that'll be a tough task for whoever's on the right hand side, most likely Yamani or Cuevas, or even Harbor Miller, because he'll probably get some minutes. And then following that, it's go time. It's season. Sunday the 23rd, Sunday soccer in MLS. We got San Diego for our home opener.
Yeah. All right. Galaxy Memes. Any input? Any expectations?
Well, I don't have too much expectations going into. I mean, I have like good expectations, but I just want to let everybody know that this is going to be like a lot of rotations happening. So I just want everybody not to freak out if we lose games early on in this tournament. You know, I feel like it's just getting everybody minutes. You know, seeing who's going to be in the roster, who's going to be on the bench. Um, so I expect a lot of new minutes. Expect a lot of rotation. Obviously, we're going to have Sanabria and Winder into the team, which is exciting. Getting their first minutes officially as a Galaxy player, and it should be an interesting one. I hope to see a lot of the homegrown talents that we signed, especially Pepe Magana, into the lineup at some point. And I just hope for the best for the team. I'm praying that there's no injuries happening whatsoever, and that we do come up with a good amount of wins in Coachella this season.
Yeah, No, I totally agree. I think health is the main priority. When you look at preseason, it's not really about results. Last year, from my memory, we did not do too well in preseason either. And, we ended up winning MLS Cup. So I would suggest try to filter some expectations on results and know that the coaching staff cares a lot more about fitness and avoiding injuries and just getting game ready again for the club. And I want to I would just err on the side of caution because you could see some really weird results in preseason. But what's more important, in my opinion, is the young talent coming up. I like how you touched on Pepe Magana, because I think you'll see a lot of Ventura County guys and people who could potentially compete for a spot on the first team and want to break out. Harbor Miller's another one I could see making an appearance tomorrow. I think he had a goal last preseason, if I'm not mistaken. Just guys like that could potentially break into the team. I'm more interested in seeing that than I am, Joseph Paintsil being fit. Like we know what Joseph Paintsil can do, but I wouldn't put too much value into preseason results, but it should be interesting for sure. You still got the storyline of Diego Fagundes against his former club Austin FC. Will he get the start? Probably. And yeah, I'm excited. The season's finally here. I know it's been a long off season. Nah, it genuinely feels like a couple weeks ago when we were winning MLS Cup. So this is kind of crazy, but
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I have a question for all of y'all for this preseason.
But
Who do you think is going to be the player to watch? Well, who is your player to watch this preseason in Coachella?
I'll go first. I think Winder, honestly, I'm really excited about that signing. He was USO Young Player of the Year, so I think that brings a lot of potential to him. And people have also said that he's the best out of the Winder brothers. So, I think he is going to have a good preseason. I have really good eyes on him, and I really hope that he can break into the starting 11 some point this season. And I feel like he will, especially with Ricky Puig being out and, the Gallo that we lost at Brugman. I feel like he's going to see some, good minutes throughout the season. And I feel like he's going to be one of those players that we can, truly grow our potential and, send to Europe in 2 or 3 seasons.
yeah.
I got a comeback arc for Julian Aude. I think he's gonna regain a spot of left back. Love John Nelson, nothing but good things to say about him. But if we're spending our U22 initiative slot on Aude, I think he's gonna have a good preseason to hopefully earn that spot. And if not, I think we ship him out in the summer or even in winter because those U22 initiative slots are very important. I think we could use him in better circumstances if he's not performing. And we have John Nelson, who was performing last season. So I think Aude's one to keep an eye on this preseason.
Yeah. Sean?
I'm going to say my player to watch has to be Cuevas because I feel like he's going to have a big role to play not only on right back but also on the wing, considering our depth right now. So I'm really excited to see him, especially push the ball up, see how his partnership works with Peck, or potentially even he may be on the left-hand side. So it's going to be interesting to see his combination play with Paintsil or Fagundes or whoever's on the left-hand side.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally, my player to watch, let's see. I want to see Novak Mitrovic, if he gets minutes, because we talked a lot about the 4 goalkeeper situation last episode. I kind of want to see after a year of development where Novak Mitrovic is at, because if he's ready to be the starter, I don't imagine we hold on to John McCarthy, or at least have him as a backup and then ship someone else off or loan someone. But I think Novak is exciting because last preseason he didn't quite live up to what we thought he was going to be. But I trust the coaching staff. No better goalkeeper coach than Kevin Hartman. So, and going into our next topic, we have the unannounced but confirmed signing of Lucas Sanabria from Nacional. Yeah, so the Galaxy are still yet to officially announce this, but we do know it is confirmed because Nacional announced it before we did. Transfer fee being $5 million with, I believe, an additional $1.5 million in performance-based incentives and whatnot and bonuses. So we got a new midfielder. I think everyone was worried about what we're going to do after Mark Delgado and Gaston Bergman left, but I think Lucas Sanabria is going to take up a U22 spot, will be a crucial player to this team. Expect him to get a bulk of minutes. Any of you guys have any thoughts on Sanabria?
Yeah, I think he's going to be our starting 8. He may even get the number 8 because that's open with Delgado gone. So I think it's going to be a midfield of him at the 8. I think Cerrillo's going to be our 6, and then Royce has our 10 / Fagundes in a pinch. So I think he's going to earn that starting spot. Got a lot of hype around this kid. Speaking of, I'm a kid as well, so I can't really be calling him kid, but I think he's got a lot of upside, and I can't wait to see him play.
Sean?
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that. It's a really exciting transfer, especially for U22 coming in. I think he will come off the gates really strong. And I think that partnership he's going to have with Cerrillo and maybe even Sean Davis when he gets a start a few times is going to be a really powerful midfield. Hopefully we see him push the ball up, create some chances for us. I know he's more of a defensive player, but we saw that Vanny said how he sees him potentially as more of a box-to-box.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited with this signing.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good signing too. He has big shoes to fill, especially being Delgado's replacement. Essentially, Delgado was always a player that covered the most ground in games for us. So he, essentially, hopefully he can do that, because if not, I think it's a little bit of a step down. Really, time will tell if he lives up to his expectations. We had him on like a $5 million. We got him for $5 million. I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
So he has, we spent a pretty big penny on him, and he's 21, so he obviously has potential. And obviously, I hope for the best, and I hope he really lives up to the expectations. I haven't really seen too much highlights of him, so I can't tell if he's one of those players. But I have high hopes for him, and that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a guy who plays for the Uruguay national team on occasion. Like, that's just not any regular players playing for the Uruguay national team, especially at the age of 21. So I'm super excited for this. Like, I'm not, when it comes to like U22 players, they're not usually names you'll like recognize, or at least very few people will recognize them. But they come into the squad and you're like, wow. I mean, look at it. Dejan Joveljic a few years ago when he first came in as a U22, we weren't too familiar. It was just this kid from Frankfurt. And, he comes in and, he scores the game-winning goal in MLS Cup and conference final. We'll touch on Joveljic in a little bit, but yeah, transitioning to the next thing, but still Sanabria related. He was actually seen with the team at Coachella Valley Invitational, as you can see in this photo here, right next to Edwin Cerrillo. Looks like the team was doing a little team bonding in Coachella, and I'm sure they're all enjoying themselves. But he's out there as Galaxy runs LA mentioned before. Could he see minutes? What do you think?
This could be a Tyler Boyd rerun. If you remember a couple seasons ago, Tyler Boyd was at Coachella scoring goals for us. I remember LA Galaxy put up a post after he scored. It just said LA Galaxy goal by like no one. So it could be a situation like that. Maybe he plays a game before he's officially announced. I think that'll be pretty funny. Something to keep an eye on tomorrow morning. Could be official before our game, and then you get some minutes. But yeah, just one of these funny circumstances that could play out to be true.
Yeah, Sean.
I for sure see him getting minutes. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe he'll be watching in the stands with the rest of the fans. But I for sure see him by next Wednesday, getting at least 45 minutes in the tank.
Yeah, names.
Yeah, I agree with Sean. He just came, and I don't think he's had like a practice session yet. So I feel like putting him into the game, tomorrow is a little bit too early. I don't think he's had that chemistry with the team or he's practiced at all. So I think for sure by the next game is going to get minutes, and yeah.
Yeah, it is nice to see the team doing team bonding. I mean, you see it a lot with other MLS teams when you're like a cold market team like Minnesota or like even Chicago, and you come over to Coachella Valley. It's just, it's the place to be. It's Palm Springs. You can't go wrong with that. I'm sure the weather is going to be great tomorrow. Galaxy kickoff at 11 a.m. Pretty excited. Make sure you watch that match. But yeah, Sanabria is just super exciting time for the club to bring in a player for $5 million is quite the investment. I mean, you don't just splash that amount of money on any sort of player, but when you talk about the Galaxy, I would say we're a lot more of a selling club than we've ever been before, and I think you'll continue to see that. I think Sanabria is just another example of that. You bring in this player for $5 million and you expect to flip him to Europe potentially in a few years. I think MLS is definitely becoming more of like the step before Europe league, where players can come in from like Argentina, Uruguay, anywhere in South America, and they could take the step right before going to Europe. And I think Sanabria could be another example of that. But when you look at where we get that money from, I think it's time to go into, obviously the main topic of today's podcast, which is Dejan Joveljic and his transfer to none other than Sporting Kansas City. Yeah, so initially he was supposed to go to Tigres. That was the rumor literally the day before Tom Bogert announced that Sporting Kansas City are finalizing a deal for him. And yeah, the deal is completed at $4 million straight transfer fee, the first use of the new mechanism in MLS. And yeah, that photo's not nice. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Well, it definitely hurts seeing him in Sporting Kansas. Honestly, I'd want him to go to Tigres instead because it's out of league. It's not in the same conference as us. It just makes more sense. And they offered more money. They offered $6 million, and we sold them for $4 million, which is still too low. I would think he would have gone for like 9 at least. The type of season he had last season, you would assume he would get a lot of money from him. But it definitely feels odd, seeing him in a different jersey, especially this season. I would have thought we were going to keep him for sure. Obviously, the MLS salary cap rules, screwed us over, and it's tough to see that. But now, we got to focus on a new striker because obviously Barry is not going to fill the role that he had. Barry's more of a closing game player, and we need a true number 9 on the field that can score goals. And I think he is definitely, replaceable. Dejan had, about 2 good seasons with the Galaxy, and, a U22 player is, theoretically what we can do. And I think we can definitely replace him. I wouldn't be too scared, but I hope a deal is done soon because season starts in end of February against San Diego?
Yeah, February 23rd.
Yeah, so, we got to get a signing in fast, get the chemistry with the new striker as well. But it's definitely a tough signing to see. It hurts a lot, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the fans agree with not seeing him in a Galaxy jersey, especially for $4 million.
Yeah, I think obviously it sucks, but I think it's better that we rip the Band-Aid off early than later. I think getting his transfer out of the way allows us to prepare the season with more time. It seems like we're in talks with a U22 striker. Still no name of that yet, but we'll keep you guys posted with what comes. Obviously, it sucks. That jersey is 2 stars lighter, as someone said in the chat. Good point out. That just shows our superiority. But yeah, so I was watching Tom Bokert's podcast today, and he was saying this isn't just a DP deal that's like on the borderline of money. This is a significant fee for him and a significant amount of wages. So Dejan's getting his payday, which he thoroughly deserves after this season. So I'm happy for him. And obviously, I want success for him, but just hopefully that success stops when we play Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this deal really hurts me, especially because one of my favorite goals was his winner against Seattle in the Western Conference Final. But I mean, he deserves to be a DP, and we just don't have that slot open. I mean, looking at the stats right here, last season in 33 games, he had 21 goals and 6 assists, as well, again, as scoring the winning goal in the Western Conference Final, as well as the MLS Cup Final in 2023, he had 6 goals and 3 assists, but when you look at the team that he had around him, I mean, it's kind of understandable. And then in 2022, a more impressive season for, in my opinion, because he was more of a super sub type. Came off the bench a lot, but he got 12 goals and 3 assists. But yeah, he's been in the club since 2021. And his first goals came against LAFC, so that was always going to be nice. But he was a big game player, and you got to find another striker who's also going to be a big game player because, well, is Barry going to be a big game player? Like, he scored some important goals for us, respectfully, like against Salt Lake and then San Jose in the Leagues Cup. But, I mean, when Dejan came off of injury this year by scoring 2 against LAFC, it's going to be a tough replacement to fill, in my opinion. But yeah, he deserves that DP slot 100%.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree. I think a lot of people look at the transfer fee at $4 million. You know, personally, I expected him to probably go to Europe if he was going anywhere for around like $9 to like $12 million. Anywhere in that range seemed pretty fair to me at the time, given the incredible season he had. So you look at $4 million and you're like, where did that come from? But I think you also have to take into account that, you know, as much as I hated to hear it, you know, he was on a contract year as well. So you're looking at a player who we weren't going to be able to pay. We didn't have the salary cap to pay him. And we have to somehow be able to fit him into our plans for this season. It just didn't work with the salary cap. But you look at $4 million, let me tell you, the Galaxy, because of the new interleague trade mechanism, the Galaxy can convert up to $3 million of that $4 million into general allocation money. And I wouldn't expect them to transfer like all of that into general allocation money, but I would expect a good chunk of it to solve the cap issues we've been having. We'll go to that. So I think it's a lot more than just a flat $4 million transfer fee. When you look at it, it's like, you know, you're not too sure about it. It definitely feels like we got undercut, but then you really think about the salary implications that it had, because you're already clearing out about 680K, if I'm not mistaken, and just pure salary from Dejan Joveljic. U22 strikers end up being around 150K, I believe, if they're under 22 years old, and 200K against the cap if they're over 22 years old. 22 or over, if I'm not mistaken. So that's huge cap relief. Would any of you guys like to comment on just how transformational this amount of money is for our salary cap issues we've been having?
Yeah, I think that this transfer is the best transfer. I think it's better than the Tigres deal. One, because none of that can be transferred to GAM, and with this, it can be up to the 4 million, which doesn't make any sense. So I think we maybe do half, around 2 billion. I think that's a fair assessment. And yeah, I think that this new transfer mechanism it's really good. I'm enjoying it. Obviously, you got this morning Cudi De Pietro transferring DC to Colorado Rapids, and then a couple hours after this Dalen transfer, it was announced that there's another cash-based initiative deal as well. I forget the name, but I think that it was a centerman from Philadelphia Union. But anyways, Jack McGlynn, yes, that guy's a baller, but not Galaxy related. But I think that this is going to transform the league. Very cool to see that Dan's the first one to do it. Kind of trendsetters as always for the Galaxy. And I want to ask a question to all you guys. What is your favorite Dejan moment?
Sean?
So I was saying about the Western Conference Final. It was just, I mean, a huge moment for not just him, but I mean the rest of the organization, beating Seattle, who were the defensively the best team. And like again, 10 years without that cup, him bringing us back to it is a huge moment. And so that's why it's my personal favorite that he's had for the club.
Yeah. Names?
Well, I think I have two good favorite moments. I think my first one is obviously his goal in the MLS Cup final. You know, I think there's no better way to do it. And my second favorite moment is, I think it was 2 seasons ago now, where he scored the third goal late against San Jose, and he ran all the way to the bench. You know, that iconic picture was taken of him with like the whole bench. And I think that honestly, I think that was my favorite moment of him because it just meant you could tell like the passion in him and everything. And I just love that out of Dejan. You know, I'm gonna miss that for sure.
Absolutely. Galaxy runs LA. You can go.
Kind of going off memes, I think that he's a passion merchant. I love his celebration when he jumped up into a Riot Squad. That was really fun. I love that. I forget what team, but it's a late. I think it was a late winner. That was a really fun moment. Yeah. Do you have anything, Peyton?
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna say just this moment, like capture this moment, not like anything after it. I gotta go with his I'll stray away from last season, even though the obvious answer is probably MLS Cup or Western Conference Final, and I'll say his goal against LAFC in the 2022 playoff El Trafico. I think just in that snapshot of a moment, I don't know what happened the rest of the game. That doesn't matter. Just in that moment in particular, that stadium erupted. I had genuine belief that the Galaxy were going to win that game. It was like the 84th minute. I believe it was the 84th minute, and it was 2-1 LAFC. We were losing. We were losing. We're 10 minutes away from elimination. And he just scores this screamer. He just scores this screamer at the bank. That man was an LAFC killer. I'll miss Dejan for sure because that's someone who had absolute passion for the club, and you don't get that often. And I think you'll probably see him wanting to score against us this season because he's a passion motivated player. I just want to be very clear. Do not be surprised if this guy celebrates when he scores against us this year because regardless of, his connection with the Galaxy and how much he loves the fans, it's not just about that. Strikers are a very passion motivated position. Like, he's going to have revenge on his mind. Like, hey, you guys didn't want to pay me a DP salary. You guys didn't want to pay me what I was worth. You sent me directly to a Western Conference rival. That's just a striker's mentality. I would not be surprised if he had a little chip on his shoulder going against the Galaxy. But, you could also see that with players like Mark Delgado, going to the crosstown rivals. Would I be surprised if Mark Delgado celebrated in an El Trafico? Not at all. But I just want to open it up to you guys as well on this. Which player that left the Galaxy to another MLS team do you think's most likely to celebrate against us if they score?
Oh, that's Cabral. Yeah, he did already.
No, this offseason.
Oh, besides?
This offseason.
I think Bergman's got a pretty good reasoning. Obviously lost his spot to Surreal. Gets sold after being MVP of the final. I think that if I was Bergman and I scored a screamer against us, I'd celebrate. So, yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, I would say Bergman too. I would maybe Delgado too. But since we're on that topic, what do you guys think about the beef between the supposed beef between Ricky Puig and Bergman hating Delgado in the locker room? I know that's been surfacing around a little bit, and Ricky Puig unfollowed Delgado not that long ago.
All right, I'll just start off by saying I don't think it's that crazy. I think players who have a lot of passion for the crest, like Ricky Puig, if they see Mark Delgado playing for the rivals, who these players hate, like Ricky Puig especially, like Gaston Bergman, like they have a chip on their shoulder every game against LAFC. And regardless of how much you like a guy, to see him go to the crosstown rivals, regardless, I think he definitely. I think Ricky Puig definitely lost some respect at least. Let's just say I don't think they'll be doing any jersey swaps after an El Trafico. But any comments on that, guys?
Can I speak up on this part?
Yeah.
Personally, I don't really think there's any beef. These guys loved each other in the locker room, and you can see after every game when they would do the team photos whenever we would win. These were guys that would always hang out with each other on what's it called? After trainings, even before trainings, we've seen photos of them hanging out. Yeah, like Peyton said, it's not like they had to have lost some respect, especially Ricky Pooch, because we know how much Pooch hates LAFC. And it's like, this isn't just something that happened within the past few months. This is something that's been going on with him since he's pretty much joined the Galaxy. So I don't personally believe there's beef between them. It's just more of you're playing for the rivals now. I'm not a fan of the rivals, so I don't think I'm going to follow you on Instagram anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, after all, these guys are professionals. Ricky's also obviously very vocal on social media, commenting on Galaxy's photos, posting on Twitter some tweets, or X now. I don't take this with any concern or anything. I'm sure they have respect for each other. They obviously create a lot of memories this season, winning the cup. So I think that they're fine. Obviously, probably unfollow, maybe a little bit of despise, but I wouldn't look into it. I don't think they're going to be butting heads when we play them coming later this year.
Yeah. Back to the last question. We got some people in the chat saying Jalen Neal being most likely to celebrate against us. I don't know. That's his boyhood club. Like,
Yeah.
I think, especially with like Sarah Neal, Galaxy Mom on Twitter, everyone loves Sarah Neal. Still bleeds blue, white, and gold, as I'm sure Jalen Neal does. I'm sure it definitely hurt a lot to have to leave everything behind in LA to go to Montreal. I hope he does well there. By the way, a center back scoring is pretty rare, but it would be our luck for Jalen Neal to bang in a header against us or something. I'm not even sure we play Montreal, but if we do and he scores, I still wouldn't expect him to celebrate. I low key think Dejan is the most likely to celebrate against us because, like I said before, I think this guy just has a chip on his shoulder. That we're gonna have to play Dejan and Mark Delgado 4 times this year. If they don't score in one of those games, I'd be very surprised, at least one of them, because they're gonna be playing with a point to prove. I think Mark Delgado talked about that in an interview, I think with Kevin Baxter. He's talking about how, when you're on the Galaxy, you obviously, LAFC are the rivals. You want to beat them so bad. But like John McCarthy, when you're on the other side of the rivalry, you kind of put behind everything that you had with the Galaxy or LAFC. You're playing for the crest that you wear right now, I think you saw it with John McCarthy last year too. He had a point to prove against LAFC as well. They come in and bring Hugo Lloris. I don't want to talk too much about them in the podcast, but they bring in Hugo Lloris to replace him, and you know how Lloris is not quality. He's not that good, but John McCarthy, he repped the Galaxy crest in the El Traficos last year, regardless of how good of a player you think he is. I think he had his ups and downs, but he's a player who wanted to beat LAFC when he was with the Galaxy. Raheem Edwards notoriously is a player who wore our crest and he wanted to beat LAFC badly. I think you'll see the same thing with Mark Delgado wanting to beat the Galaxy, and it's just something we're gonna have to accept. And same with Dejan Joveljic wanting to beat the Galaxy as well. I don't think there's any there's no hard feelings, but I don't think they're going to go easy against us for sure. And I just wanted to open this up for questions for the chat. Anything about Dejan Joveljic or just any questions in general, we can open it up right now. And yeah, we're fielding questions. You could ask a certain person, or we could just rotate as we normally do. So send them in.
I agree with Raul in the chat. He said, I don't think there's a ton of respect. I think there's a ton of respect for Vanny. They're not celebrating too bad. And I also agree with that. A lot of these players, they were with Vanny since the start. They've been through tough seasons, tough moments. So I feel like there is a mutual respect right there. And I feel like, they won't be celebrating too hard, especially Jalen Neal. We gave him his professional debut. And, I feel like he has like a spot for us in his heart. And I feel like that's a player that's never going to celebrate against us. He's going to be a player that supports us on the outside, like Araujo has been doing in like the past few seasons.
Absolutely. All right, we got our first question. Just give a number. How many goals does Dejan Joveljic score for Sporting Kansas City this year? Galaxy Runs LA, you want to start?
Granted, he's on Sporting Kansas City, and his wingers are Shiloh and Afrifa. I don't think he's going to have the production as he had this year. So I'm saying a successful season for him would be 15 goal contributions, whether that be like 10 goals, 5 assists, or whatever. But I think he has to hit that 10 goal mark,
All right.
especially for a DP.
Yeah,
I think he gets around 12-ish goals and then maybe like 3-4 assists.
All right. Means?
I say he gets 11. He's a player that needs service. He needs playmakers around him to get goals. You know, he's a poacher, and Sporting really lacks that. So I'm just gonna say he gets 11 goals this season.
All right, yeah. The number that came to my head immediately was 13. I think Galaxy Runs LA is right. If Sporting Kansas City build around them, they'll be fine. But I don't think the roster as it stands will support Dejan Joveljic. So, but we got another question, and this is something that I really wanted to touch on. Is who could be Dejan Joveljic's replacement? And I've actually done a lot of we can go one by one on any names you have in mind for a Dejan Joveljic replacement. Let's be very clear. I'm like 99.9% sure that this will be a U22 striker. Maybe we bring in a striker on general allocation money to back up the U22 or at least compete for that spot. But our final U22 spot will be used on a striker. And I actually heard that they have 4 options that they're looking at. You know, Will Kuntz and the coaching staff and everyone in the front office likes to shift option from option. You know, they don't like to get played hardball on because they'll just move on to the next guy. But that being said, I've actually done research into this, and my idea is I actually tweaked this a little bit. I think Jason Russell Rowe from the Columbus Crew, who's currently on a supplemental contract, I could totally see the Galaxy using the interleague transfer fee mechanism and putting in an offer for Russell Rowe with maybe whatever money that we have left over from the Dejan after the conversion to allocation money. I think they'll splash on Russell Rowe potentially and sign him to a U22 extension because he's also on a contract year. And then the other name I had was Ramiro Enrique from Orlando City SC, I think is another name. He's 23 years old, but he would only need a bump up to a senior roster spot in 2027. So you definitely have a lot of time, but that's an Orlando City striker. His advanced stats are very good. I think he is probably the most polished option you could look at. And yeah, anyone else have any names you want to throw into the hat?
Is Brian? Oh, go, Sean.
Okay. I think that you're going to unearth a gem. We seem to do that with Garces. You can even call Dan Joveljic a gem that wasn't very talked about. But I think we're going to find someone from the Southern American leagues. Could be from Colombia. I see we've done some scouting down there in previous times. Obviously looking at Bagui. So maybe we look in Ecuador for a striker. I know Kuntz has a lot of connections down in South America, so I think maybe we could see someone coming from out of the league. Or it could be in the league, like Jason Russell Rowe or Ramiro Enrique. Enrique was he came to life in the playoffs, I believe, or kind of towards the end of the season. He was beating out Luis Muriel, who is Orlando's DP for the starting 9 spot. Obviously, Duncan Maguire as well. Those are 2 quality 9s, so I think that speaks to Ramiro Enrique's talent and what his coach sees in him. So I think that would be a good option.
Yeah. Sean?
It can really be anyone if it's a U22. That's my thing. It can be anyone from anywhere who just either has been promising, it looks promising, or is just on a really good streak recently.
Yeah. I agree. Mims?
Honestly, I think our best bet is to scout somewhere in South America. I think, that can give us a little bit more potential. Someone also said Brian White from Vancouver. What are you guys' thoughts on that as well? I know we mentioned it in the group chat earlier.
Galaxy Runs LA.
Yeah, I think Brian White is an interesting name. He's obviously a poacher. The one memory I have of him is missing. I was rewatching all the playoff games recently. I was watching Lebas versus Vancouver, and I remember he missed a sitter 5 minutes into probably steal that early lead. But he's also scored a ton of good goals. I think he won Sporting Kansas City Goal of the Year. So, oh no, Vancouver, I mean. But I think that's a pretty good option. Bring him as a starting nine, and then maybe U22 initiative as a backup, kind of like Joveljic. We brought him in as a backup at the start, and then he obviously worked his way up and became our starting nine, and look what happened. So
Yeah.
that could be a possibility.
Sean?
Would you guys be opposed to the idea of potentially keeping the U22 or using it in another position, and then potentially waiting for the summer for a bigger name such as like Lewandowski, because we know he's going to be on a free?
No. I think that if you're going to compete for CONCACAF Champions League, you're going to need a pretty filled out roster. Obviously, you want to do enough to be able to shift in the summer and give your team boosts whenever they need, but I think that should come from general allocation money. I think our U22 spot should definitely be used as soon as possible to get the player in. It could be, you're absolutely right, Sean. It could be anyone. Like, we didn't know who Dejan Joveljic was a few years ago. Nobody had a clue who this kid was. He was playing in the A-League, and he comes in, and, the rest is history. We love Dejan Joveljic, but you probably won't recognize the name, and that's not a bad thing. But I think we should fill out our roster as soon as possible and maybe leave some allocation money flexibility for a guy like Brian White or another position of need in the summer to give us a little boost over the line. But I think if you're going to compete in all of these competitions, you need depth and you need it fast. I don't think you could see a guy like Miguel Berry playing meaningful minutes in CONCACAF Champions League. That's not going to be a winning team. But maybe you guys have a different perspective on that.
I agree. I don't think Barry can start as 9 in a CONCACAF Champions Cup game. That might be the worst decision possible. I think, no offense to your background means, but that guy, he closes out games. He's not meant to start games. Obviously, we've seen last season with the games he did start, bro was not the best. We obviously saw a drop off from his performances versus Dejan's performances starting. I think he's a great player. I think as last time Griffin said on the last podcast, he's a great player on a great team, but he has to play minimal minutes and close out games. So I think he plays a good role in our squad. I think we do keep him for this year, but we do need a 9 badly.
Yeah, absolutely. Memes, you want to?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's a player that deserves to get 90 minutes. I don't think he's a player that can play 90 minutes. I definitely think he's a player that closes out games. We've seen him have start a couple of times last season, and it was just atrocious. There's nothing good of him going forward, and his touches were really bad as well. So I think him starting this year is something I'm not looking forward to. And I hope he doesn't start early on in the season. I hope he's not the starting striker against San Diego and moving forward. I hope, we have the U22 striker by then. Because if we do, then, we're going to have to rely on our wingers to score a majority of the goals. Because I know Barry isn't going to be that player.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a question from Raul before we transition to our next topic. Do you think Dejan Joveljic still wants to play in Europe, or is he bound to be an MLS lifer? I'll let Galaxy Runs LA start on that.
I think he makes his move back to Europe. I think he spends his 3 years. He uses his contract up, earns his money, gets his payday, and then he goes back to Europe because he's obviously got the potential. Hopefully, it doesn't fall off this year and not do as great as this year. But I hope he rises up. I hope he gets like top score or something. That'd be so sick. I hope he proves us wrong. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
And I think he makes his big move to Europe, maybe 1 or 2 years, maybe even 3.
Sean?
Yeah, personally, I think he wants to play in Europe. I think he wants to make a name for himself outside of MLS. And I mean, if he goes to a European team that builds that squad around him, he can do a lot of great things. So I'm excited to see what his future holds. Just hopefully he doesn't score against us. And then after next season, maybe 2 seasons from now, we see him in a top 6 club, maybe in like the Premier League or even maybe back to Germany.
Top
I
6
hear
club.
Arsenal needs a 9.
Hot take.
Yeah, that's
Arsenal needs a 9. Mikel
Yeah.
Arteta, we got your man.
We do need a
Um,
9.
memes.
I think honestly, I hope he goes to Europe. You know, I really thought he was going to go to Europe from the Galaxy. It kind of sucks that he has to take us. I don't want to say a step back, but it is a step back, unfortunately, and going into another MLS team. And I hope, you know, him going to Sporting doesn't kill his momentum. You know, progressing forward as a player and developing. I hope it doesn't hold him back, and I hope he does end up making it to Europe back somewhere in his career, and he just doesn't, you know, go to Liga MX after Sporting or go to another MLS team because that would definitely suck. You know, he definitely has potential to go to Europe. I'm not sure, you know, top 6 in the Premier League, but you know, he definitely has potential to go in Europe and get minutes. So hopefully he does. It happens in a couple of years, and you know, this move doesn't ruin him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I don't know. I honestly can't tell you. My gut says that he's a player with ambition that wants to go to Europe because that's who he is. I don't see him as a player who kind of would just accept being an MLS lifer. But he signed a big extension at Sporting Kansas City. If he plays out the full tenure of his contract, you're looking at potentially being 28 years old, which isn't old, but that could be the time to make the move for Dejan Joveljic. But I also think that maybe he's just a guy like Joseph Martinez who has a really good breakout season, but is ultimately destined just to be an MLS lifer. And that's not bad either because he's going to get paid as a designated player for the next 3 years. I mean, like Galaxy Runs LA said, he's going to receive a considerable raise. And, you know, I think he's comfortable living in the United States, but I also think he's a player with ambition, but I can't go either way right now. But yeah, I think that's it for Dejan Joveljic right now. I want to transition to our next topic, which is Joseph Paintsil. Joseph Paintsil. We love good old JP. Joseph Paintsil. Yeah, you see the Without You record right there. Joseph Paintsil is rumored to be releasing an album soon. You wanna start on that, Galaxy Runs LA?
Yeah, obviously, we got very good connections with JP Music. Great guy. I think that I can't wait for this music to drop. I think we've obviously played his music in the stadium whenever he scores. I think this has potential. Kind of had a snippet. It's on our Instagrams. If you check out Galaxy Runs LA and LA Galaxy Buzz, I believe there's a shameless plug, but I'm pretty sure we have a little snippet up there from JP Music. So I can't wait for the music to drop. Can't wait for the stadium to hear it.
Good friend JP Music. Yeah, Sean?
I'm excited. I enjoy JP's music, especially after he scores at Dignity Health. We know they've been playing Blessings. I think it's going to be a good album whenever it releases, and hopefully they play that music whenever he scores at Dignity Health as well.
Yeah. Memes.
Well, I mean, his music's definitely gonna be on my gym playlist for sure. You know, it gets me motivated. Definitely gonna be playing in the car when I go on dates because you know it's just really good music and it sets the mood. So can't wait for that. I'm really excited.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm also stoked for a JP album. I'm trying to pull it up right now. But I had like an embarrassing amount of minutes of Unbreakable last year because when I first learned that he was joining the team, I thought it was the coolest thing ever that we had a designated player, we had a star player that releases music too. You know, you could connect with them a little bit off the field, but I think I had about 1,000 plays of Unbreakable on my Apple Music Rewind last year, which is just crazy, man. Like it's just insane. But I enjoy JP's music. You know, hot take. I know people have some different opinions on JP's music, but I really like Unbreakable. You know, he has a music video for that. But I think you're gonna see him collaborate with some Afrobeats artists. You know, I know he's collaborated with like Casey and I'm trying to remember. I think it's like something Prosh. He's just collaborated with a bunch of other famous Afrobeats guys. So I think you'll see something similar in his album, but I'm super excited. We love some good Joseph Paintsil, and like Galaxy Meme says, yeah, if you're on a first date, you gotta have the JP playlist, and now we got a whole album. Like you're gonna be in the money, but yeah, I'm super stoked for a JP album. All right, I just want to open this up to everyone. What is your favorite Joseph Paintsil song?
I think it's gotta be Blessings for me. I'm gonna say I wasn't a big fan at the start of JP music. But it grew on me. Here in the stadium, hearing everyone sing it, it's becoming one of my favorites. After every home win, because we never lost at home, I'd play This Is LA. I play that. Right after, go straight to JP, Unbreakable and Blessings. So that's kind of like my go-to playlist after a home game. So I'm looking forward to adding to that playlist and can't wait for this Without You album to come out.
Yeah. Sean?
I love Blessings a lot. Hearing it after every goal was so cool, and then hearing him perform it live in person after we won the cup on December 8th at that championship celebration, it was awesome, man. Hopefully he can recreate that again
Did the live
at the end of the season.
Great, man. All right, names.
I'm gonna sound basic, but my favorite song is Blessings. It's stuck in my head 24/7. Sometimes I sing it in class, and people just look at me weird, but they don't understand the connection I have with that song. You don't know how much it means to me. So I would say Blessings.
Oh yeah, we
will
not be singing the song. We will not be. We'll sing the song at 500 subscribers. We'll sing any JP song that you guys want. We'll all sing it. But I just threw you guys right into that. Sorry, but my favorite JP song. I mean, like I said, almost 1,000 plays. I'm gonna go basic, Unbreakable. Hearing that song being played after, the JP goals last year it was amazing. I loved it. But blessings for sure my second favorite. I love it. We got someone in the chat saying we need a JP and Miguel Berry collab, or we need a JP and Peck singing about praising God. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely, we need that. We need that, guys.
Hear me out. Dejan Joveljic has connections with Kendrick Lamar, Grammy winner.
5-time Grammy winner. Yeah.
Kendrick Lamar, Joseph Paintsil collab. That'd be pretty sick.
That would feed families.
Dude, Joseph Paintsil and Kendrick Lamar combined have 22 Grammys. Think about that for a second.
And one MLS Cup.
That's aura.
We love some good JP music, and then we just wanted to end it off on this topic. We'll before we field any final questions from the chat, is we got a new statue. We got a new statue. In this picture, you could see Kobe Jones and David Beckham, two Galaxy all-time legends. And the significance here is that Kobe Jones will be getting our newest statue. Yeah, I mean, absolute club legend. Any comments on that, guys?
Yeah, obviously coming 2026 with the World Cup. He has played a big part with the U.S. national team coming up. I think that's why they released it in 2026. Obviously, definitely deserved it. I think that he deserved it over Keane and who else we say Joe Totino as the next statue. So I believe that was the right choice. I remember seeing a clip of Donovan. It was after the final, and he's congratulating him. So this was obviously in the works for a while, and I can't wait to see it come to fruition. And now we get to see a statue come in 2026.
100%. Sean?
It's 100% deserved, man. A club legend through and through. He loves this club, and we love him. I'm excited for him for getting that statue. I agree with Galaxy Ranzale was saying he deserves it more over Keane. Not saying that Keane doesn't deserve one. Keane 100% deserves one in the future, but it had to be Kobe Jones next.
Yeah. Names?
Well, he deserves it 100%. I'm glad he's getting a statue. And it kind of leads me to the next question, like who's going to be the next Galaxy legend to get a statue? I feel like it's going to be Robbie Keane. But, I also wonder how many statues are they going to, put up until they say, we're done. for a while because it feels like there's been a lot like in the recent years. It's like back to back to back.
Yeah. To answer your question, I think it is easily Robbie Keane. I don't think it's really a question. You know, you got to complete the three of the Donovan statue, the Beckham statue, and then obviously Robbie Keane. You got to complete that absolutely legendary Galaxy attack. You got to get it out there. So I think it will be Robbie Keane, but I think there'll be a big break, I've heard, between the Robbie Keane statue and the next one. But Kobe Jones, 2026, obviously huge ties to the U.S. men's national team in the era that he played in. You know, 100% deserved. Arguably could have been the very first statue the Galaxy had. Just with the absolute impact that he had on the club, even as a commentator. You know, he's always been active in the organization. I think he definitely deserves it. But okay, let's field some things, because if Robbie Keane is the obvious next choice for the statue, and we should all be in consensus for that. Who after
I
that?
disagree with that.
You disagree? Okay, go ahead.
I think obviously I don't think that another statue is coming so it's coming 2026. I don't think another statue is coming until 2030 time. I think the next statue, I think we veer off from players. I think we go to someone like Phil Anschutz or Joe Totino. I think we do one of those. That's the next one.
I love
Obviously,
that.
you play big roles. Joe Totino, our broadcaster forever, and then Phil Anschutz, our owner. I think he deserves a statue. He's obviously played a big role in MLS's upcoming, and obviously the Galaxy as well. So I could see that happening.
Yeah, Sean.
I agree with Galaxy on LA. It should probably be Joe Totino, but I would be also open to potentially like naming a section of the stadium after Joe Totino because he earns it. He earned it.
That's a good point. I like that. Maybe in a statue, but we name part of the stadium. I didn't even think of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I like that idea too. Another player I think deserves a statue, and is Don Raul. You know, the kit man, dude. He's been here forever. He needs a statue, 100%. I think for sure, if we branch out of players, he should be the first one. If we're gonna branch out of players to get a statue.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think if you look beyond, no, I think it would be interesting to absolutely, at least like maybe even name like, you know how Dodgers have like Vince Scully Avenue, being able to have like Joe Totino, freaking Joe Totino Street or something near the digs would be great. Or even Phil Anschutz. It's like, you know, he has the MLS Cup named after him. He definitely deserves something for us too. You know, I would be interested in seeing something like a Joe Totino statue. Obviously, club legend, voice of the Galaxy. You've seen it before with like outside of crypto arena with the Kings commentators, the Lakers commentators, or the broadcasters who end up getting statues or getting commemorated in a way that I think someone like Joe Totino or Phil Anschutz deserves. But yeah, I think that's an interesting take. I could definitely see that. I think beyond Robbie Keane, I think a name that people throw out is Pescado Ruiz, or either him or, let's see, what's another good one? Any ideas past any just wild names or any outside names that you haven't heard for a statue?
Honestly, I feel like people are gonna say Ibra, and I don't think he deserves a statue. I don't think he's on that status as the other players on contribution. Same with Chicharito. I don't think they're on the same level. I honestly can't think of other players that deserve a statue. Maybe Ricky Puig in like 10 years or something, maybe even more. But yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have another contender after Keane for players. Not yet, at least. I think if Ricky continues his dominance of the MLS and carrying us to league titles, I think he will deserve one. But right now, no chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Ricky Pooch, if he wins another MLS Cup or brings us home something like CONCACAF, just continues to win trophies and stays at the club for longer and longer. He already sacrificed his ACL for this team to win an MLS Cup. I think he absolutely deserves it. I think, but let's just say before we transition to anything else, Kobe Jones, back to the topic, so well deserved. So well deserved. Congratulations to him. I mean, man, this is just an absolute club legend. Voice of the Galaxy. I love seeing how active these guys remain in the community even after they retire. Like, I think we got to give Kobe Jones his flowers, and I'm so excited to see the statue in Legends Plaza. To answer a memes question, I think they cap it off. I don't think Legends Plaza will be like crazy with. I don't think they'll overcrowd statues because it gets to a point where like I don't, you're looking at like borderline fringe players getting statues like of if they deserve it or not. Like obviously Kobe Jones, David Beckham, Donovan transcended the game. 100% deserve statues. I don't care what anyone says. They were pivotal in the growth of American soccer and Galaxy history. They deserve statues 100%. But like, I love Zlatan. I love Zlatan like the next guy, but I don't think he deserves a statue. But like, he's a legendary player. He had an immense impact with the Galaxy, but he does. I don't think Zlatan deserves a statue because he didn't win MLS Cup, and it's not his fault because they built terrible teams around Zlatan. Let's just be very honest. But I mean, come on. There's definitely guys that deserve it before that's been core parts of Galaxy history, but I think it will be a while after you see, Robbie Keane or like Galaxy Runs LA was talking about, even people. I saw Raul Vargas shout. We love Raul Vargas, but I think we need more like solidified Galaxy legends after the next few. Like we shouldn't just go straight like 10 statues and some of them are like, do they deserve it or not? I'm not too sure, but I mean it's non-debatable with Kobe Jones for sure. And last thing, just gonna transition to any final questions for us. You could once again say any names that you want to answer a specific question, or you could rotate all through. It could be about anything. Just shoot questions our way, and yeah, we will be there. See,
Just to kind of stall time, I think if you're thinking if a player deserves a statue, like if you're questioning it in your head, they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
Donovan, Beckham, or Kobe Jones, those are all no-brainers. Like you're like, oh, they deserve a statue. There should be no Galaxy fan that says, oh, they don't deserve it, because all three of them deserve it. So Zlatan, people think, oh, I don't think so. I don't think he deserves it. Here for what, 2 years? I don't think he deserves it. Like you gotta stay here longer, win trophies, be successful. So I don't think players like Zlatan or maybe Ricky Pooch right now, if he were to leave next summer or something, I don't think they deserve it. You don't just be handing out statues for free. These things mean a lot. And if you start handing them out to people like Zlatan or Ricky right now, I think that devalues the statues that are already there, and that's just not fair to the people that built up this club.
Yeah. Sean, you want to comment on that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. In my opinion, I mean, you're looking at maybe even like 2040s time. I think Ricky Pooch 100 deserves a statue just for what he's done with the club now. He came into the club in the middle of the 2022 season, pushed us to playoffs. In 2023, at the end of the 2023 season, he had every right to leave 100%. That season was so shambolic, especially after an injury too. And then he had a really good year in 2024. Hope really was the key player, in my opinion, to us winning the cup. And then he sacrificed his career, really, by tearing his ACL and still played on it for 30 minutes, got the assist, pushed us to the final, and then won us the cup. So in my opinion, Pooch 100% deserves a statue in maybe 20 years' time, 15 years' time.
I can see it happening. I saw a question earlier. How do you think How do you think we'll do in CONCACAF Champions Cup?
I'll start. I don't think we win it. I do think we get past the round of 16. We have a good track record against Salt Lake, and somehow they've had a worse transfer window than we have, and they didn't even have cap restrictions. But they still have time to build out their roster. But I think we'll handle Salt Lake. Obviously, I think they could play. It's either Salt Lake or Herediano.
Herediano.
Yeah. I expect Salt Lake to get through that. If they don't, whatever. But I think we end up losing in the. I'll say quarterfinals. No, semifinals. I think we'll lose in the semifinals. Any predictions on that, Sean?
Oh yeah, I think in my opinion, Salt Lake are winning their games. And I think it will be a very narrow win against Salt Lake at home, and then we just defend for our lives on the road against them. But with the squad we currently have, I mean, unless we get a U22 striker and he's on fire, yeah, I agree that us getting eliminated in the semifinals. What about you, Memes? Where do you think we finish in the CONCACAF?
I also say semifinals. I think we definitely beat. It's Colorado. I mean, it's Raw Salt Lake, right? I say we beat them for sure. Quarterfinals are going to be a little bit tough, but I think we also advance through there. But I definitely think we're going to get we're going to lose for in the semifinals. I just don't see us advancing to the finals, especially no Ricky yet, and we still have no striker. So we still have some pieces missing, and I just CONCACAF Champions League is a tough tournament to win, and usually it goes to Liga MX. So I just want to say I think the team that wins it is also Cruz Azul. They had a big offseason, and I think they're going to be the winners of the CONCACAF Champions League. And I wouldn't be mad about that. They're a good team.
Yeah,
I just pulled up the what's it called, the table or the knockout rounds. If we progress past Salt Lake, we either play Tigres, Esteli, Cincinnati, or Montegu. So I think we either play Tigres or Cincinnati. And Tigres obviously is known for an MLS killer, obviously interest in Dejan. So that could have been an interesting storyline if you were to go there. But Tigres is obviously good. So that's going to be a tough ask if we do get past the round of 16.
Yeah, I agree. Shoot, in that case, unless Tigres gets upset, and maybe quarterfinals is where we end up landing at, because that's a rough matchup against Tigres to have to play them that early. But we got another question about the new kits for this upcoming season. So yeah, we do have a new kit. This is the 2026 or 2025-2026 away kit, also known as the Sunset Kit. And I think I've seen a lot of mixed reactions on this. I'd like to get your guys' opinions on it before we circle back to myself. Anyone want to start on their thoughts on this?
Honestly, I like the kit. It looks pretty cool. It reminds me of the Laker colors. I also want to see it on the players though, just to see how the actual kit is gonna look. But off like the bat, I think it's a good kit. It looks really clean. I like the gold, and I'm excited to buy it. I'm gonna buy it this season. I'm already saying it. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, Sean.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, sorry, there's just some issues there. I really like this kit. I think it's gonna be a very iconic kit. It's going to look better on some players than others, but that's the case with all jerseys pretty much. Yeah, with the 6 star, it's going to be the first new kit released with the 6 stars, so I'm really looking forward to that. But I think this is going to be an all-timer, like up there with some of the community kit, for example.
Okay. All right, Galaxy runs LA.
I'm back. I like it. I can't wait to get it. Comes out sometime in February, I'm hearing. So I think once it comes out, I'm buying it. Instant cop.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think a lot of people are way too harsh on this kit because they've seen this image, which is not going to be like, it's not going to look the same as it looks on a player. Let's be very clear, is that when you see like Ricky Pouge or Joseph Paintsil wearing this kit, you're going to be like, it kind of grew on me. So I think just based off of this, I wouldn't go as far as to say it's on like community kit levels, but I think it'll be a nice kit. But I like the tie into the LA Sunset. I like that they try new stuff, honestly. I think it's a lot better than just having a bland home and away kit every year, like you see like some Premier League teams, like my Liverpool, like our home kit is pretty much the same every single year, barring a few minor tweaks in design. Like it's just, but they're very innovative with MLS and their Adidas jersey contract. I love it, honestly. I love that they're willing to try something like this, even if not everyone loves it. I like kits like the Night Navy kit. I love Night Navy kit, might be my most like underrated Galaxy kit of all time. Like I just love the design of that. I think this will be another one where, maybe people doubt it at first, but then you start to attribute some memories to it. You start to attribute some wins to it, some wins like wearing that kit, and you're like, okay, I like this. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the kit. I like it. I like it. I think it'll grow even more on me, and I'm excited to see the players wear it in the photo shoots and whatnot. And then we'll field one last question for tonight. Is we got the opening game bagged, or is San Diego legit? Once again from Raul. I'll let Galaxy Runs LA start on this one as well. Thoughts on San Diego?
I think they got a good team going, but I think we got a better team. They obviously got Chico Lozano. They got Luca Del Torre. They got what else they got? They got some Danish players, I believe.
Dreyer?
Yeah, Dreyer from the Anderlecht. I remember him. Those are their three DPs, I believe, and they got a pretty good team. Kind of going under the radar, but I don't think they beat us. I don't think they have the fans to give them that 12th man push. I think we'll have a hyped up crowd ready to defend our title, and I hope we take them to it and start off on a good foot.
Yeah. Sean?
I think it's going to be a tough game, as every the first game of the season is. I think San Diego is going to try to have a point to prove and beat the current champions. So I think they're going to come out strong at us. But I think we win this game, but it's not going to be a blowout like we've seen us do against other teams. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Memes?
I'm gonna say it's gonna be like 2-0, 3-0 us. They have good star players, Chucky, Luca Della Torre, and Dreyer. But outside of them, the team is pretty mediocre. They do have a mediocre defense. The keeper, if I'm not wrong, is former LAFC backup Pablo Cisniaga, who's just been bouncing around the MLS, and he's not really at good quality. I think it's gonna be a comfortable win. I just hope, I'm praying. But yeah, they're gonna have a point to prove, like Sean said. But I think we overcome this team pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm more with Sean and Galaxy Runs LA on this. I think this will be a very close game. Actually, I think I think it's so hit or miss with the expansion teams and how they come out of the gates. I think a lot of people expected, when you're rumored to players like Kevin De Bruyne, pretty much every big name, like right now, San Diego has, or like even Ochoa, San Diego were linked to at a point. They end up getting, I think it takes them a bit of time to get chemistry together. I think we're fortunate to play them at home the first game when they're still trying to figure everything out. But it's an expansion team. They're going to want to prove a point. No better way to capture headlines than San Diego FC, the expansion team, knocks off the reigning MLS Cup champions. So I think they'll be looking for that, but I don't think they'll get it. I think it'll be 2-1 Galaxy win, but I don't think we'll just handle them. I think it'll have some dramatic moments to it. Expect a lot of hype around San Diego in their franchise, but I think the Galaxy inevitably get the win, but I don't think it's a blowout. I think this is a close game because that's just how MLS works most of the time. So yeah, but I think we're all on the same page that we pull it out though, which is important. So we got 4 wins in the chat for San Diego. We'll have a full game preview the week of course. We'll be doing that every week, having a game preview for you guys. But any last things, guys? Anything else?
Match predictions for tomorrow. Game day tomorrow.
Okay.
How do you think we do against Austin?
Predictions? Yeah.
I'll give mine first. It's preseason. I'm not expecting us to go out there and dominate the game for 90 minutes. I expect we're going to give up some dumb goals. I think this game might be like a 3-3 tie. I think you're going to see, a lot from Ventura County boys. And I think a lot of them are going to have a great preseason.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I'd say it's going to be a tie as well. We're definitely going to see a lot of rotation, a lot of subs in the second half, non-starters. So it's just going to end up as a tie, which I don't think we should freak out if it does end up as a tie. It's just preseason. We're just seeing out, who deserves to be starting, who deserves to be on the bench, and, all that type of stuff, just sorting out the teams. So I'm going to just go with a tie for this one.
Yeah. Galaxy runs LA.
I hope we win, but I have doubts about that. Obviously, it doesn't matter because it's preseason, but I think we'll see some good minutes from some G2 guys. And then hopefully we get a goal. We didn't score a goal against NYCFC, so hopefully we get to see our first preseason goal. Obviously, this game's going to be streamed on Fox, and I believe you can also watch it on austinfc.com. So,
yeah. Exciting. Yeah. I think that the Galaxy lose this game 2-1. But it's not important. I don't think this team cares about the results as much as Austin FC does. When Austin FC came off the atrocious season that they had, I think they want to come out with points to prove. And especially against the Galaxy, we're going to have a target on our back this year. It's only preseason, so the intensity probably won't be crazy for them to beat us, but I think they want to get some momentum more than we do. I think we're more performance based and the players getting in fitness and staying healthy. I think it'll be 1-1, and then they'll probably bag a late goal because we'll have like our substitutes in, mostly like Ventura County guys. But I think our lone goal will come from, I'll say, Diego Fagundes. We'll go for a little fun storyline there. I think Diego gets his goal against Austin in the preseason. But yeah, like Galaxy Runs LA said, streaming on Fox. And make sure, last thing, everyone, if you're watching and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It'd mean a lot. We broke 100 subscribers, and I really wanted to thank you guys. We're at 133 right now, and this is our second episode. Appreciate all you G's for tuning in. Make sure that you like the video, share it with friends, and we appreciate the continuous support. And appreciate all of you guys. And any last things, any last plugs, socials? You can find me at Galaxy Buzz, LA Galaxy _Buzz on Instagram, and Galaxy Runs LA. You?
Yeah, find me at Galaxy Runs LA, GALAXYRUNSLA.
You can find me over at Galaxy News 101 on Instagram and on Twitter.
You can find me on Insta at LAGalaxy.memes.
And last thing before we go is I wanted to show you guys the intro that we had that didn't fully function at the start, but it's partnered with ATM Danny, and we're super excited to show you guys this. It showed like 1 second at the start, so we want to play the full thing for you guys.
Trophy up, yeah. Trophy up. Do your dance when the G's up. Spaced out, got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west, can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up since '96. Been #1 in LA, something like that's the gist.